A former Deputy Law Minister has hit out at lawyer Shafee Abdullah's remarks on Najib's addendum case. Meanwhile, Ming said that perhaps it is time to start a serious conversation about the possibility of a full pardon for Najib. Stay tuned for this and more on KiniNews. Former Deputy Law Minister Hanipa Maidin has questioned senior lawyer Shafee Abdullah's remarks on Najib Abdul Razak's house arrest case. In a statement, Hanipa said he had listened to Shafee's press conference and it seems like he had conveniently ignored or completely disregarded the crucial word in Article 42, namely the word advice. Instead, Hanipa stated that Shafee had used the word discuss. He pointed out that no one, let alone the judge, ever disputed or questioned the prerogative powers duly enjoyed by our king. He says Shafee ought to be fair, as the constitutional language enshrined in Article 42 is crystal clear, which is that such prerogative powers shall be exercised on the advice of a pardons board. Hanipa added that while Shafee may be disappointed with the verdict, the disappointment might be mutual. He said perhaps Shafee failed to realize that many people, including members in the legal fraternity, are equally disappointed with him too. On December 22nd, High Court Judge Alice Lok ruled that the previous Agong Sultan Abdullah Sultan Ahmad Shah's supplementary decree was invalid. This was because it did not follow constitutional procedures as per Article 42, requiring that clemency decisions be made in consultation with the Pardons Board. She said whilst the power of clemency is a royal prerogative, the federal constitution has provided for it to be exercised within the framework of the constitution. The Attorney General's Chambers has also dismissed claims that the court ruling over Najib's house arrest bid has reduced the powers of the Malay rulers and governors when it comes to pardons. In a statement yesterday, the AGC stressed that any move to instigate the public using false interpretations of the court's verdict is improper. The AGC stated that the statement is untrue and doesn't reflect the reasons given by the High Court. It said when rejecting Najib's bid, the court stressed that the power to pardon comes under Agong's prerogative, guaranteed under Article 42(1) of the Federal Constitution and backed by precedents of superior courts. However, it added that Article 42 also states that when exercising the function, Agong, rulers, and governors must convene a meeting with the Pardons Board. The AGC said that based on the meeting minutes of the 61st Pardons Board meeting, it clearly indicated that house arrest was not discussed in the presence of Sultan Abdullah. The only thing discussed at the time, the AGC added, was to reduce Najib's fine and prison sentence by half. Therefore, it said the learned judge ruled that the house arrest addendum was not made in line with Article 42 as the matter was not deliberate and decided when the Agong was chairing the meeting. The AGC stressed that this clearly shows the court's decision doesn't reduce the powers of the Agong, rulers, and governors when issuing pardons. From now on, you can also listen to KiniNews on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Scan the QR code on the screen to follow us. Still on Najib's case, former Bangi MP Ming believes that it is time to start a serious conversation about the possibility of a full pardon for him. This came following the High Court's decision to dismiss Najib's house arrest bid. In a post on Facebook, he argued that such a measure could be part of a broader reset aimed at discouraging court charges against political rivals. Ong recalled how when he had previously appeared on the Keluar Sekejap podcast on the 2nd of May 2023, had declared that awarding Najib a full pardon would constitute a red line for DAP. He added that since then, his own thoughts on this have been influenced by the grand amnesty proposal first made by Khairy Jamaluddin in an August 2023 episode of Keluar Sekejap. Such a proposal, Ong said, would include not just a full pardon for Najib, perhaps after the conclusion of the ongoing 1MDB case, but also the discontinuation of cases involving DAP National Advisor Ling Kuan Eng and Bersatu President Muhyiddin Yassin. He added that the proposal would also extend to the dropping of the government's ongoing appeal in Muda MP Syed Saddiq Syed Abdul Rahman's case, as well as the attempts to go after the late Daim Zainuddin's assets. He said this would make room for what Khairy terms a political reset so that we can stop the process of going after our political rivals, using the instruments of the state once one side is in power. He added that in his naive and idealistic thinking, he is hoping that this may be part of the process for greater political maturity that is much needed for this country. Citing the Christmas spirit, Ong said, "May we forgive but not necessarily forget, in the hope of the larger goal of reconciliation so that we may slowly but surely make Malaysia a better country for us and those who will come after us." Selangor DAP youth has criticized its UMNO counterparts for what it claimed to be an act of cheap politics following the group's gathering in front of the Puchong Parliamentary Service Centre yesterday. In a statement today, Selangor DAP youth said the action, which had been carried out following a remark by the party's publicity chief, Yeo Bin, brought no benefit to the public and reflected immature political behavior. It said the practice of gathering in groups merely to create provocation and sensation is not mature politics. Instead, it stated that it reveals a failure to argue intellectually and based on facts. The Selangor DAP youth further linked the move to the leadership style of UMNO youth chief Dr. Ahmad Saleh, perceived to favor gimmicks and emotional appeals over substantive solutions to people's issues. It stressed that politics should not be driven through intimidation, provocation, or selective demonstrations. Yesterday, a delegation of Selangor UMNO youth leaders and about 100 supporters gathered outside the Puchong MP Service Centre to mock her remarks against former Prime Minister Najib Abdul Razak. Various leaders from UMNO, as well as PKR and DAP, have rebuked Yeo over her remarks, which also fueled calls for BN to withdraw support for the unity government. Yeo's remarks came following the Kuala Lumpur High Court ruling on Monday that the 16th Yang di-Pertuan Agung's royal decree granting Najib house arrest was invalid. Businessman Albert Tay has reiterated his call for the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission to return a CCTV recorder that was allegedly taken during a raid at his home on November 28th. Tay's renewed appeal follows a fourth round of police questioning today over his claim that MACC officers pointed a gun at him and his family members during the raid. He said he was informed by the senior investigating officer handling the case that Bukit Aman had submitted several new questions related to the investigation into the alleged incident. Tay also emphasized that police have recorded his statement 4 times so far, including today. He added that statements from his wife, mother-in-law, and a foreign domestic helper were recorded last week. In addition, Tay questioned the police on the whereabouts of the CCTV recording device and when footage of the MACC raid on his home would be made public. He demanded that the police immediately return the CCTV recorder and release the video footage, saying this was necessary for him and his family to obtain the justice they deserve. Perlis Pakatan Harapan has expressed its support for the PAS-led state government to continue governing until the end of its term. The statement comes amid reports of political tension in Perlis following alleged moves to remove Menteri Besar Shukri Ramli while he was hospitalized for chest pains after returning from China. In a statement, Perlis Pakatan Harapan said the state government was formed through a legitimate democratic process and based on a clear mandate from the people, which must be respected and upheld. It stressed that this is not a time for internal turmoil or power maneuvering, warning that such actions will only create public anxiety and erode confidence in state administrative institutions. Perlis Pakatan Harapan added that its position was taken to preserve political harmony in the state, protect the interests of the people, and uphold the royal institution. Previously, several media reports citing sources claimed that 5 Bersatu Assembly persons and 3 PAS Assembly persons had submitted statutory declarations to the Perlis ruler, Tuanku Syed Sirajuddin Putra Jamalullah, stating they had lost confidence in the Menteri Besar. The 8 Assembly persons would constitute a simple majority in the 15-seat Perlis State Assembly. Overall, Perikatan Nasional holds 14 seats, with PAS holding 9 and Bersatu 5. Shukri has since been discharged from hospital and last night expressed his gratitude to those who prayed for his recovery. Yesterday, Tony Phua criticized supporters of former Prime Minister Najib Abdul Razak, calling them lovers of a crook, for condemning those who celebrated the court's verdict in Najib's case. The DAP disciplinary chief said that both he and his party are proud of the role they played in Najib's downfall and his continued imprisonment. Following Phua's remarks, Kinitv ran a poll to gauge public reaction to his comments. The results showed that 63% of respondents supported Phua's statement, saying firm action is necessary to uphold accountability and justice. However, 28% disagreed, arguing that his remarks were divisive and could undermine political cooperation. Another 6% felt the statement was balanced overall but said Phua should have exercised more caution. What are your thoughts on Phua's comments? Share your views in the comments below. And that is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to KiniTv.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, X, YouTube, and Facebook for the latest news updates. I'm Camelia. Thanks for watching.